What piece of junk did you find that turned out to be valuable? I found a small envelope with a few inches of wire in a junk shop. Bought it. $2 because it had some faded penciling about Troy's. Turned out to about 1.5 troy ounces of platinum wire. Sold it for $600. Found a fake Cartier watch at Goodwill for $10. Bought it because it still looked nice. But it's a real Cartier watch and it's worth $1,000 plus. Keeping it because I'd never buy myself something like that. I'd never buy myself something like that, but you did, albeit for $10. Reddit 1 Internet Guy 0. Typical not me but a friend. She found a copy of a Salvador Dali painting at Goodwill. She loved him and it was a big print, so she grabbed it for like $20. She took it home and took it out of the old frame and it had a stamp of authenticity on the back, and she had it assessed and it's worth $20k. Lucky but huh. My mom did the same thing, except hers was a Tabuna painting and she found it for $2 and sold it for around $15k. Old folded up piece of paper in the bottom of a box my dad had I found cleaning up the house. Torn up and faded. Turned out to be a 90-year-old original Jean Carlu poster worth roughly $20,000 after spending $1,000 for restoration. Well, a couch surfer who crashed in my guest room for a few months left behind a 1970s Fender Super Twin Tube amp worth $1,800 he didn't know about. It made cleaning up his bottles worth it. Someone gave me a hideous purse out of a box on its way to Goodwill. I sold it on eBay for $1,100. I've had some good flips, but that was the best. Weird painting of a cat with birds on its back no one wanted. Paid $20. Worth $400. Investments on paintings happen like that. My mom got a painting for $300, but after a while, it now costs $15,000. She is waiting to sell it. I found a book at a trash bin. The Wind in the Willows. I never got to read it as a kid. After finishing it I googled the edition date, turns out it's a collectible worth $300. Who knew? A really old dollar bill I found in an old Bible. It's worth around $100. I found a misprint $1 bill that had 2 zeros after the 1. Turns out it's worth about $100. Well, if my mom were to respond to this thread, original Harry Potter 1st edition Philosopher's Stone novel. It's very rare to find them and they sell pretty well, but she threw it out. So salty. Staples put a couple copies of AutoCAD LT on clearance for like $4.90 each. I made almost $1,000 on eBay for them. That's insane. What a find. Must have been a while ago, I expect. It's been subscription for a long time now. Was fishing at family's cottage, pulled up a fishing rod, which turned out to be the one my grandfather passed away, got as a birthday present and loved it, but lost about 8 years ago. I love this one. What a great thing to reel in. I bet he was really excited. Bought a mid-century Ottoman for $75, among other things, at an estate sale in NYC. Found out years later it's worth $3,000. Found some sunglasses in a parking lot covered in dirt. Washed them off and they turned out to be Ray-Bans. It was a pretty good day. I, too, found some Ray-Ban sunglasses while riding around. I have a main pair of sunglasses that I wear, but these found Ray-Bans are still my backups for 5+ years now. When I was 17, I found a driver's license on the ground from a guy who was 22 and resembled me a fair bit. Rarely had a problem getting into bars or clubs with it. It was priceless TBH. My grandfather's violin sat in my garage for years before I dug it out because I wanted to learn violin and couldn't afford to buy one. Turns out, it's a pretty high quality violin, and celebrating its 100th birthday in a few months. Found a cat, near death, in a ditch. My husband ended up finding his furry soulmate and had an amazing 4 years with that cat. So your husband stole your cat and left you for a furry? Dang. What a crazy turn of events. Garage sale box of junk for $5. Had a rare Eisenhower silver medallion that was for a beating in South America. It was on eBay for 30 seconds and sold for $500. Telescoping Luke action figure $300. I'm a coin dealer so I see some cool stuff. My siblings. Turns out organs are actually pretty expensive. Whoa. Maybe I shouldn't have posted this. Fisher-Price PXL 2000 toy camcorder. It recorded onto ordinary cassette tapes. Found it at a Goodwill. Video onto audio cassettes? Cool. Never knew that existed. A 1973 Honda 250 Elsinore. Picked it up for $100. Rode it until it died, put a couple $100 in it, rode it some more. Eventually it wasn't worth fixing and it was trashed. Learned later it could be worth as much as $10,000 in good shape. I bought an Asus Nintendo 64 with 2 controllers from a pawn shop a few years ago for $30. After a quick clean it's worked perfectly ever since. I still excitedly tell people how cheap it was whenever we bust it out. I found a La Blanc clarinet in a city dump in perfectly good condition. I called the company with the serial number. They told me it was one of 100 flat clarinets made in 1952 and worth $2,500. I bought a junk box at a sale for $20. On the top was a moldy leather holster belt and a few boxes of very old shotgun shells. But in the bottom was brand new in the box Colt Combat Masterpiece 38 Special and brand new in the box Ruger Single Action 357 Magnum. I found an IBM Model M at Goodwill for $2. God damn it, that is my dream. Kinda flip side on the question. My dad was metal detecting and found a penny from around the late 1700s. One side was in very good condition and when you flip it it's extremely rusted and corroded on the other side, making it worth close to nothing. A relative of mine was handed down by their grandparents the original Hobbit books. In the front page there was an original hand-drawn map, like Tolkien liked to do. Little did my relative know its worth, and she chucked it in the bin about 35 years ago. Find out now that was worth thousands. I would for one of those. In the 5th grade I flipped a sandwich for $5. You can start a sandwich empire like that. Subway 2.0. I found a coin that's a toonie, but it was a special one so instead of being worth $2 it was worth $63. Pretty good increase I must say. What made it special? Was it the design? Or a dot? Yeah, it was a design that was released by the Mint. Thought the jade-like thing was a modern fake jade replica of a Chinese imperial official's hat feather holder. See loads of replicas being sold as pendants. Nope. It was a real 18th century jade imperial official's hat feather holder. I paid a few quid for it. An antique shop offered £2,000 for it, so it's probably worth more. My dad's girlfriend found a gold watch in a thrift shop that was made in Switzerland for .50. It sold for around $1,800. I picked up an ancient looking Striker Model 810 autopsy saw for $10 at an estate sale. Beautiful chrome body, solid feel, deco styling. They still make the thing and a new one is $1,200. I sold it for $500 to a pathologist in Florida. I made a demonstration video with it to show that it worked. It racked up 20k views after Jamal Khashoggi was murdered. I was searching through some stuff my dad had and there were action figures from like 1970s and a comic book collection worth about $500 after I looked it up. I picked my Freddo packet out of the bag on a big family Christmas barbecue. Opened it to find 2 Freddo frogs inside. Hell yeah, pretty sure all my luck ran out there. Found a Baratza coffee grinder at Goodwill for $7. New ones go for $150 to $250. It was dirty and missing some non-essential parts, but worked fine after some love. Still use it to this day. It was actually cheaper than the Cuisinart grinder they had next to it, $15. Found a gaudy chain on the ground that had broken and fallen off someone. It had a hand-carved giant charm on it. It was a college campus and I honestly thought it was junk, so I didn't have much hope of trying to find the owner. It was 13 grams of 14K gold. I have a 1965 silver quarter. I think it's definitely not normal. I'm scared to send it in to be appraised as there's only been one other turned in and that went for thousands of dollars. It scares me, but it's cool. My uncle had a stamp book which he threw out. I for no reason took it out. Turns out it was worth $10,000. Sucks to be my uncle. Haha. Actually, I found out just this morning that my 90s Nirvana shirt is worth hundreds of dollars. I still use it as a sleep shirt. LOL. An Optimus Prime 1984 remodel. I looked it up last year and some were sold for $1 million. I lost the toy because I was about 6-7 years old. More context. I was born in 2004, but I watched the 1984 Transformers cartoons and collected some of the toys. My grandma gave me some of the vinyls she had in storage and one of them was the Beatles album, Please Please Me. It belonged to my aunt. Turns out it was a rare first edition German pressing sold for GIs on foreign military bases, worth $800 to $1,000.